lawn tomorrow. But if it conflicts with that game, there may be some negotiating going on.
All right, there we go. All right, you ready, sir?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Got all the bugs worked out. Man, that was enjoyable.
Yes.
All right, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Sorry for the inconvenience, but it seemed like the gremlins was out inside the system, and that happens every once in a while. They picked a good day to do it today on a Friday.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but anyway, this is Ronald Gordon with Texas in Color. We have our Republican friend, Mr. George Green, in the house. How you doing today, sir?
Oh, any better than it'd be illegal, Ron. How are you all?
I hear you. Um, I will touch bases with a few things. We had our training yesterday for the election judge, and it was some things that came out there that just it boggled the mind at the last minute stuff that went took place in August that they voted on. One is when you go inside of the voting booth, you have sides that are covered where nobody can see what you're doing. But on both sides of that, we must have a way for anybody who have to complain about what's going on. That's got to be on the inside. Then the other one is another sheet of the state of Texas, naming names of candidates and all that has to be on the other side. And there's not enough room for the candidates to go in there. Have you seen the sample ballot?
I have, yes.
Man, isn't that something else?
It it uh it is something else, yes.
So I think I brought one home with me and I showed it to my wife. I said, look at these 2 pages. She said, oh, yeah, look on the backside. I said, what you mean? I said, it's more like 4 pages. But that's what we need to educate the voters on. We're down to the wire, less than 30 days to get there. And everybody knows about the president, the presidential race. They know about all that. But we have to educate them on the local ones because the local ones, it means a lot to us. And people don't realize how much power the school board has, the appraisal district, the commissioner court. All those have the power um, on what's dictated, especially when it comes to funds. What is dictated down here, the school board has can sit down there and remove any books they feel like it. But we gotta the voters gotta be educated on what exactly is going on in their local election, not just the national but locally. And I think it benefits both parties if we know who's running and what they stand for. What is your take on that?
Oh, I agree 100%. We start by educating our immediate circles. And if, since the last time that we've talked, uh, I've been with, oh, I don't know, about 5 or 6 different groups. And surprisingly, they hadn't seen the ballot yet. I'm sure by now they have.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But looking at that ballot, if it's just your first time, it's like sticker shock. So I do strongly encourage people to look at that book or a book that ballot from top to bottom and get some information on them ahead of time.
Yeah.
So your advice and direction is just what the doctor ordered. So I encourage people to get with whatever group that they can get with and share that ballot with them. And it need be just read through it word for word because it's a lot of stuff on there.
Yeah. Not only that, we tackled the use of electronic devices in there. And the main ones that we were talking about was Generation Z. Everything is on the cell phone with them. There's not nothing on there that they don't know. Everything is on there. And that's going to be the hardest one. I say you can't use your phone. You can't use
Yeah.
we have to have your physical ID. Don't show us a picture of you on the phone. And so we ran some precincts ran across that, but it wasn't that bad once they understood the reason why behind that. So the other thing they were talking about is identification, what you can bring, what you can't bring. And the other thing that was misconception is provisional voting. The reason why that is people think if they're not registered, they can still come in and vote and use provisional ballot. Well, how are you going to use a provisional ballot when you're not registered to vote? And,
Yeah.
and that's one thing that we got to let them understand. I'm surprised to this day that for years, coming January, I've been on the earth 70 years, and I'm still trying to figure out, is it me not understanding, or is it them not understanding, or we're not putting it in layman terms for them to understand. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think it could be a combination of all of the above. When whenever I'm in line and I'm looking around and see who all is present, uh, they all seem to be pretty well versed and understand, what they're there for. Um, unless some people come from the outside somewhere and we don't know them, it's it's pretty tough. But from what I have experienced in the past, everything has gone pretty smooth. The poll workers are there, and they see that things are going and working well. And let's pray and hope. The only thing that I have a question about in my mind is, excuse me, with this large number of people that are registered, should they all come through to vote? I just kind of wonder, is that going to be a snag somewhere? But that's a lot of people to manage through, and hopefully everybody will heed our advice and vote early,
Yeah.
hey, before the crowd, so to speak. But I'm an optimistic guy. Let's just pray and hope that it all goes smooth.
Yeah, but they threw a monkey wrench in there. And let me tell you what it is. It's this one small community that they found out who people was voting for. And they got scared because if you notice when you're going in and vote, you hand the clerk your ID. They do all that process, get a ballot, put a machine to print it, then they give it to you. You go into the voting booth and vote. Well, since they were scared about what's going on, how they doing it, they don't want everything to be in order now. So what they're doing is when you get up there and vote, before they print your ballot for you to vote on, they're gonna have three ballots there. You have to pick which one you want and then vote because it's gonna be pre-numbered now, not like it used to be. So now you have to turn around and pick a ballot, then they print it and send you on your way. You talking about slowing the process up. And
Yes.
and people question why I gotta do this. Is there something wrong? What's going on? I know. I told them we're gonna get these questions, and what should our answer be?
Well, I think I'm sure in that training, election training, they schooled y'all pretty well on
Yeah,
your proper response. Uh, um, of course, proper response is no. There's nothing wrong. Uh, just my view. I'm an outsider looking in. It's we're just trying to maintain accuracy and validity. That'd be my response.
yeah, because I get where they're coming from, because the numbers are in sequence. If you look at it, because you come in and vote, it's just one on top of the other. But now the numbers are already on there, and you just pick one you want to go vote on. But it's always going to be that one off that's going to come in there and swear up and down. You doing this and you cheating. I brought that up, and they said, well, you're going to have one or two that's going to come in that's going to challenge you. You just tell them this is how it is, which one you want. Don't stand there and argue with them and hold up the line. Say this came down from the Secretary of State. We're just
Yeah.
workers here, and that's what we're doing. But you get that one off in there, it may disrupt the whole place.
Yes, you're right. You run into those occasionally, and I defer back to the election training. The people I've seen, they have been extremely professional,
Mm-hmm.
and I trust that they will maintain that. But the cheating thing, that's reared its ugly head here of late.
Yeah.
I think that's just become apropos nowadays. So, oh, you're cheating, you're cheating. That's the automatic reaction to a lot of different situations, not everywhere, but I find people they're quick to say you're cheating. Remember in the old days, if you said somebody was cheating, that was like
Ooh,
a fisticuff
I
battle.
know. I know.
Never call anybody a cheat, but they do it all the time now.
Yeah, it's secondhand now. What you doing? Nothing. I'm cheating. That's what I'm doing. Let me let you know there's something else that came down, and I expressed my opinion on this when they told us this. All right, let's say for instance, I get up and I move to Oklahoma. It's too late for me to register to vote in Oklahoma, but they say if you do that, you could come back to Texas, but you come back to your county where it's at, and you could vote there, but you can only vote presidential and not the rest of them. And I said, wait a minute. So that means you can't vote for a commissioner court or none of that stuff? No, because you don't stay here anymore. I said, I understand that. But that is the dumbest thing that I heard. Who's going to come back and say, I moved to Oklahoma and I'm only voting for the president? When they say that, is there something that's print out just for them to vote for presidential or do they get the full ballot? You know? So I said, who came up with this? If you move out of state, number one, I wouldn't move right now anyway. I want my vote to count. They're gonna have to wait for me to move to get up there. But to put that in there, to me, it was a little bit redundant to do that because now you got confusion out there with people. You know, it's confusion. And we sat down and we look at all the new changes that's coming up. Do you know that we will be there normally with a big election? The last one I did, we was there to 8:30. Okay, getting everything together, packed up, everything's done. 8:30, we're out the door. With this slowing us down now for everything that they come out the changes, we'll be glad we get out of there by 10 o'clock. So results not gonna come in as fast as they think it is now. This election cycle.
Yeah, and I think that's a proper expectation to set. When we're looking at some of the changes that they're making in that process, and so you can expect somewhat of a slowdown. Uh, Again, I trust that all of our workers are real efficient in what they do.
Yeah.
But there's a little catch in there that's going to slow things down and and delay the process. So uh, I think you're setting the right expectation there by letting the people know. Um, it's gonna be a little slower this year, maybe.
Yeah, and we were told if you had 500 people came through your precinct the last presidential election, times that by two. So, because the last one I did, we had people lining up at 6:15.
Yeah.
We had them going around the school, around the block. It was a long line. By the time that line was finished, it was 10 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Then the new wave came in. And then at the end of the day, oh, that wave came in. I'm like you, please, everybody. October 21st, go vote early. You got until November 1st to do it. So that's what I expect everybody to do because it's gonna be a line. Oh, and they brought up about poll watchers. I was intrigued on how in depth they went in on poll watchers and what they can do and cannot do. I already knew what they could not do, what they can do, but they made it different now. Well, the poll watcher can only observe and ask questions only to the presiding judge or the alternate judge. And it's got to be, they can't jump up and say, I don't think that person is legally here. They can't do that. They can't do that at all because we can't question nobody. They got a voter registration card. They go through the process. And it changed the poll watchers because you have to come in at a certain time. And back then, if you left, you couldn't come back. Well,
Hmm.
now they could come back, go back and forth, go back and forth. And we know they can't go out there and solicit and talk people who to vote for. We know about that. And so um I think they can have up to two poll watchers in a precinct, if I'm right. They can only have that. But but that being said, the judge is responsible for the whole precinct no matter what. And that's kind of scary. And they're not scaring us. They're just saying we gotta be vigilant on what's going on, who's coming in, who's doing what, who's doing this. We always gotta keep an eye out. Well, I know in my precinct, I'm always looking. I'm looking outside. I'm looking everywhere. When they come in, I'm watching. I'm just like a hawk. I'm watching because I don't want nothing to get out of hand. So, so they're telling us just be vigilant and just watch and see what's going on. And we were told we got a chat section to hit, and sheriff is right around the corner out of all the precincts. So they're taking this very seriously. And there were a couple people who were scared because you know they're scared of being threatened. They haven't been threatened, but they're scared that's on there. And you know that's why I don't get because I raised my hand. I said the proper way to answer that question for anybody, we just work here to make sure everybody vote. All the information, everything that we get, we have to do came straight from the Secretary of State. If you have a problem with that, you need to go talk to them because we're here just working to make sure everybody vote.
Hmm. And I think that is great advice. Um, there's going to be some people on edge. I might say, just jumping out there early and saying, with all the I guess all the noise that's going on with and about the voting. So there'll be a few people anxious, I should say, and I think with the poll watchers and those that are working the entire precinct, the judges all included, I think if you stay as direct as you can and follow the words that you had echoed there, Ron, I think that would minimize and hopefully eliminate any of the I guess nerves being on edge. People like yourself and others that can handle it with a cool, calm manner and just keep things going like they're going.
Yeah, we have definitely have to do that. So let's switch. We're cool and calm here what we're doing, but it can't be cool and calm with the candidates constantly lying, constantly saying things. I was trying to find that news segment where this one gentleman, older gentleman, is scared to death to get any money from FEMA. He honestly, his sons and daughters talk to him is not like that. He honestly think if he receives some money from FEMA, FEMA gonna come take their house, take his house. He is adamant about that, and they try to tell him this is not how it is. So you got those hands full of people who's gonna believe that noise out there, and they're hurting themselves by not getting the help that they need. So with that being said, what is going on with saying this is not? I don't get it. Why do we have to lie and make things up to scare the people more?
Well, there's no justification for the lying. I'll put it that way. The candidates, being a candidate and being in their shoes, it is a very, I just say anxious time uh, uh, to be a candidate now. And I thought about picking up the phone and calling one of the candidates myself. It's the last thing they want to do is hear from me. Their mind is on their race. So
Yeah,
so you just have to keep that in mind. But no excuse for lying. And and as far as the FEMA funds, you know, all indications are the FEMA funds are there. There's no that I know of contingency for someone that's receiving FEMA funds, other than the usual, stuff that go along with any kind of money that you receive from a government. But they're not gonna come right out and take your property. Uh,
Right.
the FEMA funds are there. The money's being allocated. There's a lot of people pulling on FEMA funds right now, as there is, in any other year when we have, some of the catastrophes that we're dealing with now. So, um, if people, I don't know why they're doing it, but if it's a scare tactic of some sort, I just say be not afraid. Be not afraid. Those FEMA funds are there for you to personally utilize and be made whole as much as they can.
Hmm.
We got people going through some just mind-boggling times right now, and
Right.
us here in Texas, we're my friend and I we're riding today, and isn't it nice just to be able to get in a vehicle and start and run and you and jump from one to another and go and those people in other places, their life is all gone.
Yeah. What I like about the Republican Party of those states are coming out and speaking out. Said, nope, we talked to everybody. We got funds coming in. Don't believe what you hear. We have everything coming in. The president reached out to us and asked if you need anything, let me know. And hearing that remind me back in the day. Said that's how you're supposed to get along. It shouldn't take tragedy to get things together. But I'm glad it is because they need help. It doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Black, White, Hispanic, Asian. It doesn't matter. When tragedies like this come around, we need to come together as a people. And that's where I see what's going on. We are coming together as a people because you know what broke my heart is that people in the nursing home down there in Florida had to sit in water all night, all night before they were rescued. So politics have no business being in something like this.
Yes, that is just it's a shame. And our emergency workers and all the volunteers are pitching in as much as they can and trying to get to people as fast as they can. It's Mother Nature can be a pretty cruel, vicious nature sometime, and so. But we just have to deal with it, and to see the governors pitching together, everyone from the president on down, uh, pitching together. That's really that brings a smile to my face. That's good to see.
Yeah. On a lighter note, there was this a video of this guy in his vehicle. He was driving away, and an alligator was biting at the tire, and that's scary. Alligators out in that water. I seen that. I said, "You kidding me?" And you got these people walking in water and all this stuff, and alligators out there. Man, that's scary to me. I don't know. When I seen that, I said, "You got to be kidding me." So the alligator, I guess he wanted to eat some of the tire. I don't know what he was doing. But that's another thing they need to look out
Yeah.
for is those snakes and alligators are out there too. So as DeSantis said,
Oh,
the storm is over with, but we still got a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of danger out there, and he was right. There is a lot of dangers out there, and people need to be aware of all that because, man, can you imagine you working on something tugging at your leg, and you in water? I don't know, man.
you're probably talking to the person that's the most feared of any of reptiles.
Because I
that's
don't want to
that's
be
one
around
reason
it.
I live in Texas. So
Yeah, it's going on. Okay, let's switch gears and get to the Texas politics that's going on over here. We got some tight races going on between Senate seat exactly. It's too close to call. And me and my wife was talking the other day, and I told her the polls out there to me are just an indicator. They're not really telling you who's going to win or lose. Now, when it gets tight like this, just leave the polls alone. Don't jump up and down. That person is up 1 point, then down 1 point the next day, then up three the next day, then down four the next day. It's going to fluctuate. The only polls I see that's pretty accurate, if one got you at 75% win and the other one's 25%, that's pretty accurate. Local level wise, you could look at that. But statewide, with the Senate going on, with all this going on right now, and mudslinging, and one's talking about family values, the one's talking about you want guys that play against girls and knock them out, and I read on all that, and it was taken out of context like most things are. They find
Hmm.
one verbiage and they just honker on that and take completely out of content. It was a bill that Colin Allred voted for the LBGTQ, for make sure they have equal rights. So I read that bill, and how they get that out of there, I don't know where that even came from. So it's crazy on how we get something and we run with it. You remember back in the days when you had a newspaper story, you could not release that story till you had three reliable sources. That's
Yes.
that's how it was back then. Now we got this internet. The only reliable source is you. You put it out there like throwing spaghetti on the wall and see if it sticks. And I'm tell you right now, a lie will stick quicker than the truth. Why I don't know.
Yes, you're right. There used to be some accountability for what we said or what we wrote. In my view, that has gone out the window, and what seems to be apropos now is if you can, whatever you can throw up against the wall and it sticks, so well, so be it. But but at some point, they're going to have some accountability for what they say or are saying, and I trust that that will come about when we finally sort out who's going to win this thing. It it's interesting when you have tight races like this to see what the character is of the person, or it's an indicator what
Yeah.
he or she who they are, and it's it's really tough to hear some of the things that are being stretched out there, uh, and they make it sound so real. That's the thing. And for the person out here on the street, yeah, how do you decipher what's real and what's BS? So yeah, there's no accountability for what's being said out there in my view, uh, and I think unless you know the person well, which a lot of us don't, you just have to go by what you see.
Yeah. So let me ask you something. This been on my mind for a while. Um, the Republican Party. Why is it when they have not really a rally, they invite people to come to their speeches? It's not really open all the time. Not all, but I'm saying some of the main ones. Are they scared to listen to the crowd what they have to say, or this is their way of controlling or who comes to listen to their speech?
I think it's a couple of things. Number one, it's a way for them to recruit, to get new members to come in. Uh, that's one of the things that I think it does. Um, and to some extent, excuse me, you can control your crowd by using that method. And and let's just face it, now it's always good to know who you have in your crowd so you don't run into any accidents, so to speak.
Right.
But it is a way of recruitment.
So, Marjorie Taylor Greene, for instance, she made that big old noise about Jasmine Crockett with her eyelashes, and so this black lady was in the airport, and Marjorie Taylor Greene was there. Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't look up at her, didn't say nothing to her, and she walked by. So, oh, now you have nothing to say now, right? You have nothing to say, right? So, sometimes reality will hit you. You can sit there behind those closed doors and talk all the noise you want, but when you get out to American people, remember, They haven't forgotten.
Yeah.
They haven't forgotten what you said, so you have no choice but to be quiet. I hate saying that. And speaking about green, I'm pretty sure you heard this. What is this you talking about that the Democrats control the weather?
Well, I Marjorie Taylor Greene, and honorably Taylor Greene, I like to think, no relation, and she is. How should I? I'm just trying to put it politely. She's a free thinker.
Okay. I thought you were gonna say she's unique, but I'll take free thinker.
And so she can come up with some stuff. I think where she's coming from on that is years ago. You may recall the weather people were uh, playing with. They still may be seeding clouds in order to get them to release some moisture and rain. I don't know if that's where she's coming from with that, but it sure wasn't a Democratic control or any kind of party control. And so
They've been
the
cloud seeding for years. Especially like we need a bunch of cloud seeding over here in Texas, but we're dry here. But they've been doing that for years, experimenting with it. But I don't think it was any good results coming on. Now we could say hit all the Republican states with this hurricane. It doesn't work like that. You know.
No, it doesn't. I kind of wonder sometimes if she's not doing a little grandstanding whenever she comes up with that. Don't know her from Adam, uh, but I wonder if that's part of what she's doing.
Yeah. Um, we touched base about money last show, how much they were making, and you were right on the money what they were making. I looked it up, but once you throw in their expense account, their what's that meal and stuff, they get all that stuff, all that right there. Man, that adds up to almost $71,000 of that part right there. But it's not. I don't know, but it adds up because not only are they cheap, but they get a lot of incentives as they go along. They get their daily meal ticket and all this go along with it. And somebody added it up. It came up to like $72,000 and stuff. So, but I'm trying to figure out who will want to run on that little pay. And I don't get. I guess it's the power that you get out of that once you get there. It's the power. It's the um, people noticing you. It all comes together because it's got to be something there in order for you to run for a job. You're not making $10,000 on the year.
Yeah, and money's not it's not a big driver for most of those people that are running it. Any any person would know that $7,200 compensation that they're getting, it doesn't totally pay for their expenses and their staff and everything else that they're doing. It's more, and don't forget, we do have people out there that are willing to serve just to be able to serve their constituents, and that's the driving power behind that. And I'll just make it personal. I want to do it because our people need the help. We sincerely do. Excuse me, and so that would be the driving force for me. Money is not that's not a big driver for me, but for some people it is. But that $7,200 doesn't account for near what they expense.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I seen it out there. So, will you ever run again for
Yeah,
office?
you bet I will. You
And
bet our people need it. I lived in the Midwest for 20 years, and I come back to Texas, and we are in dire need of help.
so, what would be some of the things that you would do, or what office are you looking at to run for?
Well, there's there's a lot of things to do. First off, I would have to get a feel for my constituents as to what their explicit needs are, and I could speak for myself. We need help with healthcare, and when I say with healthcare, we need help with paying for the healthcare. We need help with healthcare services. Our areas that are in the rural, outside the urban areas, they can't find a doctor, and we need teledoc services that can be utilized out there. Prescription costs. These prescription costs are just going out the ceiling. And veterans, I don't know if you know this, but veterans, we're having to pay for out of pocket expenses on our medication costs. That's ridiculous. We done served our country, sacrificed some in cases all, and they're still charging our veterans. Infrastructure, transportation. That's There's so many things that could be done out there.
Mm. And you're right about that because I got friends in the military, and can I mention that insurance name and not get in trouble? It was Tricare, and and they were saying that when they went into service, they were told they'd be taken care of for life.
Mhm.
And then years back, I don't know how many years back, they started charging, like you said, for this and for that, and they was like, "What? I got to pay for this now? I never had to pay for it."
Mhm.
And so it's almost like some of the veterans got to get a job to pay for the medication. And they served their country already. They shouldn't have to get up and do anything.
That's exactly right, Ron. I've gotten on the phone and I've written my congressman, both of them, and sent them letters and examples. And if they don't do the job for us veterans that we were promised, then we'll get somebody else in that seat. That's for sure.
You know what? I hate saying this, but I'm gonna say it. All these people running around here with their guns, want to shoot up everything. I say, have them all in the military. They want to go shoot and fight. Put them all in the military. They wouldn't last 5 minutes. I guarantee you that. Some may, but most of them are just out there for show.
I would second that. I would second that, Ronald. You want to shoot a gun so bad? Here, here. When I was in the army, if you left your rifle anywhere, you were punished.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, when I got out of there, the last thing I wanted to do was carry another rifle. So I second that. I also say we need something for school security and our children. Our children are out there just they're they're in danger. We need some. It's getting to be where the schools have to be as secure as Texas Department of Criminal Justice jail. That kid shouldn't have to be under that kind of scrutiny. Come on.
See, now you know back in the days, the safest place was always a church, hospitals, and schools.
Yes,
And now people have a disregard for all three of them.
all three. All three. When somebody's got to be carrying a pistol in church, we have hit rock bottom.
Yes.
Come on.
And it's sad. We have people in church now that legally carry guns, and the people in church security. We never had a security detail in church before.
No,
We never
no.
had one. Now you got to have one now.
Yeah, yeah,
Man,
yeah. I fear for those. So you said, what would I do? Those, man, I could just pluck a couple of those off just real quick. Now they're not easily handled, but it can be handled.
you know, the other countries. I talked to a friend of mine from Australia. He came over here. He said, you know what we call United States? I said, what you call United States? United States of America? They said, nah, y'all shoot all the time. Y'all shoot gangs. That's all y'all do is shoot all day. That's all we hear about shooting, shooting, shooting. I said, well, you do have a point there. Then I have a friend of mine that's in Japan right now. He said, policemen over there don't even carry a gun.
Mhm.
I said,
Yeah.
wow, you kidding me? I said, no, they don't carry guns over here. So I don't know. If I'm right, what they said, there are more guns than there are human beings in United States. That's
Ye-
crazy,
Yes, sir. I would not doubt that. I would
man.
doubt that.
So violence is not going to solve anything. I told somebody the other day, when somebody shoot and kills somebody, you're hurting both sides of the family. Your family's hurting because you did it. You're going away for the rest of your life, or maybe put to death. But you got to look at the other family that you killed that person. Some of them will never be the same because of what happened. Because before you, let me go back to this one comedian. This one comedian said this: I could stop gun violence right now. Give them all their guns they want, but charge them $1,000 a bullet. They'll be more selective who they're going to shoot. And I thought about that, and I said he may be on to something right here. Charge a lot of money for ammo, where they got to say, hey, man, I can't be doing this, can't be doing that. But now people are making their own ammo now. So
Hmm.
that's another thing. I watched somebody make their own bullets one time. I said, "You kidding me? You do that? You not scared?" I couldn't do it. I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. So, but the violence here is got to stop. It really does, because our kids are growing up with scared to go to school. There's still kids right now scared to go to school. That's homeschooling. They don't want to go to school.
Yeah, yeah. I, I'll give you an example, Ronald. When I'm safer teaching a bunch of criminals in Texas Department of Criminal Justice, I've got 26, maximum 26 male, all male inmates in this prison, and they're in there for murder, anything you can name under the sun. And I have 26 in there working with dangerous tools. I have one security guard. I am safer in that environment than I am teaching in any school around here, public school, private school, you name it. Safer in that
Wow,
prison teaching these men that have been convicted than I am in a classroom in Texas public school classrooms. That's a shame.
that is, man. Wow, that doesn't make any sense.
No, no, it doesn't.
None whatsoever. And some people's philosophy was arm the teachers. Huh? They got enough on their plate. They're a counselor. You name it, they're doing everything but teaching.
Right.
So now you want them to have a gun just in case a shooter comes up. So what if their teacher have a bad day?
I don't
Just
I don't know who came up with that idea. I think they may have been talking to Marjorie Taylor Greene or something, but I think whoever came up with that idea, he gotta be, hey, I don't know.
yeah, because these teachers got enough going on. They're looking over their shoulders too. They go outside and the tires are slashed. You know,
Yeah.
we were talking one day when I first moved to Texas back in 1978. I was talking to some friends of mine. And, we got a mixture of Republicans, Independents, and Democrats. Sometimes we had some heated discussions, but sometimes we sit down and talk about things. I said, "What happened when I moved down here? I seen pickup trucks with gun racks and a shotgun back there. I seen kids driving their trucks to school with it on there, and nothing was ever done. Nobody did anything. It was
No.
called respect, and they knew better. They bet not bring that gun out. What happened? What? It's like a blink of an eye. All of a sudden, we have this. I don't even know what to call it. You know,
What, you're right, Ronald. I was a senior in high school in '75, and that was our thing. I mean, I was an agricultural person, FFA person, and the trucks. We had gun racks in the back, pistols underneath the seat. and parked in right in the parking lot. And nothing was ever said, nothing was ever, violated. And it went on. And somewhere 75 through 80, somewhere in the, I say mid to late 80s, that all changed. And now you better not have a gun on you
Oh,
in
better not.
any kind of campus. So,
I thought if I wish I had pictures of that. I'm probably sure I could find some, but you have a gun rack in the back of your on your truck, and you got two, three rifles in there. And people, we knew what they're doing. Hey, they want to go hunting, they go hunting, or they get on their farm and there are rattlesnake or something there. It was always something to protect yourself, and that's what it
mhm.
was all about. But now they took it to a whole new different level.
Oh, yes.
A whole new different level, and I'm trying to figure out. Well, I stopped trying to figure out things like that. It boggles the mind. I just stop and just uh, I hate to say it, sometimes you don't have to, but sometimes you have to accept what's going on.
Well, it
It's
goes back to home. I know that's a tough uh, problem to take on, but goes right back to home because every one of those kids, whatever gun they're carrying, uh, the home life knows about it, some way, form, or fashion,
yeah,
and you got to take that responsibility back. Back, well, sorry, parents, but you got to take that responsibility back home.
yeah. Well, I mean, son, I talked about that the other day. It starts at home. Everything starts at home.
Yeah,
That's where everything starts off at. If you got if your mom and dad is in an abusive relationship, you see that all the time. Chances are you're gonna be in one too, or be one that's doing it. I mean, things are not always peaches and roses and all that. You're gonna have some ups and downs. But when you resort to violence, you know, that kid is gonna see that and think that's normal.
sure, yeah.
And it's not. Man, like I said,
We keep going. We're going to solve this. No, you we keep going. We're going to solve this. All right.
it's just
You
amazing. It's astonishing.
elected, and then I'm going to come down like Thor. But we're going to fix this.
So, before we go, I gotta ask you this one question: what do you see that you could do to start mending the fences between Republicans and Democrats? What do you see that maybe that you could do to bring this together? It's not going to happen overnight. Tearing it apart didn't happen overnight. But what can you do to start bringing people back together and start talking about the issues like we used to?
Well, I'm working on that as we speak. We have 5 or 6 different Republican groups in the county in Comal County. 5 or 6. We have one Democratic Party. And what I do is I try to make every one of those Republican meetings, but at time it gets to be just hard to do. But I work with both parties. They're the precinct chairs and their uh, officers in both parties, and try to be an example of how to get along, how to work together. There's no need in pointing the fingers and the blame game and all of that. It's time for us to come together. We're too split. We're too divided, and the best that I can do is to mediate between the two, and serve as an example. Ron, that's that's about the best that we all can do.
Yeah. Start off with something small to debate on and work your way up. That's what I'm saying, because if you start off with something real big, oh, you're just gonna stay divided. But that's just my opinion, because I never been in the rooms to see how they communicate and talk. It's a give and take, and I would like one day just sit down there and just observe and see exactly how they cross the lines to each other and how they could turn around and come together on something. But you know what? I will say one thing. We will come to, we're just like a family here. We divided right now and we can't stand each other. But let somebody come over here in the United States and try something stupid. Oh, we all get together then. So we need to look
Yes.
at that. If we could do that then, how come we can't do it now?
Yeah. Well, we can do it.
Yeah.
We can do it. If not, we're going to be dying off pretty soon. So,
We don't want that to happen.
no, we don't.
I'm gonna get back and talk about something about voter registration. I ran across this young lady. She was 30 years old, never voted before, and so I had my paperwork with me because I'm one of those deputies out there for registration of voters. And I broke it out. I said, "Here you go. Sign up right here." She broke out that pen before she even put her name on there. She stopped, and I said, "What's wrong?" I'm scared. Scared of what? Scared of what? Voting. Once they come after me, they don't know who you voted for. You have to vote. I said, "You have any kids?" I got 3 kids. I said, "You voting for their future. You vote for any party you want to vote for. Vote for whoever you want to vote for." She never did that. She never filled it out. So I gave her a one to fill out to mail in. This was a few weeks ago. And so I called a friend of mine and I called her. I said, "I need a favor from you. Can you talk to this lady right here? Because I'm lost." I said, "She's a nice young lady, 30 years old, and I think you could probably talk to better than I can because I'm not a female." I said, "I'm going to leave it up to you." She said, "Okay, okay." 3 days later, she called me back. The one that I said she needed to register, she said, "I did it. I registered to vote." I said, "Good. Did you have any problems?" "No, you had a lady that called me. We talked for hours, and she was telling me what was going on, and I decided I needed to vote." I said, "This your first time vote?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Good for you.
Good for her.
Good for you." And I look at things like sometimes I'll be honest with you, I can't talk to a young lady the way another woman could talk to her.
Mm.
I can only say so much without maybe saying something that may be offensive. I'm trying not to do that. I try my best not to. So I figured, you know what? I'll pass it along to somebody else that maybe could reach this person.
Sure.
And, and,
Yeah.
and, and she reached her.
That's cool.
So, I mean, that's what we need to do. Get them out there and vote. I don't care who you vote for. You can vote for somebody on Mars as long as you go vote.
That's right.
That's all that matters.
keep
So,
keep that up, Ron. Keep that up.
and I'm sorry I missed that fish dinner with you, but I had something going on because I really want to go. And but we gonna meet up somewhere down the line. I'm gonna come up there and visit you. You gonna have something going on, invite me, and I'm gonna be there.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
Because
I look forward to it. The holiday season is coming up here, so yes, we'll be making.
but you said fish fry, man. I love me some fish.
Oh, oh,
my
oh, you
wife,
got
my wife
you
will
got
tell you,
my chitlins, huh, Ron?
huh?
You gonna diss me on my chitlin?
No, I don't eat chitlins. I grew
Oh,
up on chitlins, and I said when I get out on my own, I'm not touching another wrinkle. And I haven't. So me and we didn't get along.
all right, Ron.
So
I'm not gonna hold you to that
all
one.
right. All right, man. You stay safe and looking forward for next week because we know things is gonna get a little bit more heated out here as we get closer and close. I'm praying that it don't, but the signs are already showing that things are being said right now. But I'm hoping that cooler heads will avail from all this and not go down that slippery slope that you can't come back on. So I'm just praying that everybody would pray, bite their tongues, and just go do what they need to do. Go vote, go home.
Oh, I pray
That's
we
it.
will. It'll happen.
Yeah. So, all right, sir. Well, I appreciate it, and we'll catch you next week.
All right, Ron. Thank you, and thank everyone.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Recordings.
All right, everybody. That was Mr. George Green with us right here on Texas in Color. We appreciate everybody tuning in today. It was nice to have everybody here. Later on this afternoon, who we got at this afternoon? I think we got man, I need to check it because I got a funny feeling. I got to get it right. I got to get it right. Tiffany Clark will be here at 1 o'clock. She'll be here in a few. So prepare for that. So we have Tiffany Clark on at 1. So stay tuned and we'll be back. This is Ron Gordon at Texas in Color.